Hey everybody, Mark Herman, aka LA Bengals fan on most of the major platforms, and I am joined here by super fans Devin Circus and Jake Circus from the Jake Circus podcast, and this is the preseason recap and season prediction show. That's what we're going to call it. That's what we'll call it. All right, just nod. Okay, yeah, that's what we're doing. So here we are. Preseason's done. Well, before I forget, Jake, tell them where they can find all your stuff.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Jake Circus. Also listen to the pod, Jake Circus podcast on Spotify and YouTube, and doing some college football stuff. NFL gambling show out next week. A little bit of a slow start to college football, 3-3, but we're at 500, so no worries. But yeah, good times coming. Happy to be back on as always.
Yeah, I love having you guys. This is a show by fans for fans. If you don't subscribe, please subscribe. It's all we ask. Hit the bell, get the notifications. We're going to be back to our Thursday preview shows, recaps right after the game throughout the season. So you definitely want to get the notifications. Yeah, I liked last night. I liked the under in the Florida-Utah game. I thought the under 44, and I teased it at under 51. We'll be throwing out, we always do a little, what's Jake's, favorite pick of the week? What's my slam dunk of the week? Because we're both gamblers. Devin, you can throw in your 2 cents if you throw your money out there and risk it. But that was so I went 1-1 yesterday because somebody didn't cover. I'm trying to remember. One of the games didn't cover, but I got the under, so I was 1-1. So that makes sense that you're 3-3. It's early, it's college. So, all right, well, let's jump in. Let's wrap preseason up right now. Okay. And were there any surprises for you guys on the 53-man roster? Because outside of Carmen over Adeniji, which was kind of a teeter-totter, could have gone either way. I didn't see any surprises. Was anything surprise you there?
No, I was looking at it this morning, for really the first time full, and I didn't see anything really surprising. Pretty much everything we thought in June and July when mini camp started and rookie camp are already finished, that like all the rookies were going to make the roster, and they did, which is a good sign. First time in a while I think that's happened for the Bengals, where all the rookies made the 53 in their rookie season. A little bit surprised as a whole that they have 5 linebackers, but all them deserve to be on there. Marcus Bailey, Joe Baichy, 2 guys who have coming back from rough knee injuries in the past, both get their chance this year. I think that we're as deep as ever, and they brought 20 total linemen, 10 O linemen, 10 D linemen. So they are very deep in the trenches, which is very good.
Yeah, I agree. So on the practice squad, I'm assuming that we're going to probably try to sneak Adeniji over there, and we're going to try to get Crispin over there. So people like that.
Stanley as well.
Morgan, yeah. So
Stanley Morgan already came back. I think I saw Adeniji signed with Minnesota yesterday. I think he's gone.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I figured that was the plan when you released him, was to try to get, and Crispin will probably get back, so we'll have a backup punter there. But other than that, we knew there weren't a lot of roster spots available. So, the Princeton kid makes it, our punt returner makes it, on part of the rookies. So, but like I said, I wasn't really shocked. There was nothing that blew my mind when that happened. So you're saying Adeniji, I was hoping we get Adeniji over to the practice squad, but you said he signed with Minnesota?
I'm pretty sure that's what I saw yesterday. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what? So go ahead. You can say something.
I was going to say, you hit on it. The 2 rookies, Jones and Yosavash, really pushed Stanley Morgan to the practice squad. I think a lot of people just assumed he'd make it just because of his, he's a special teams wizard. And I think that the 2 rookies pushed him, showed that they can do enough in punt returns, kick returns, and special, on punt and kickoff return to push Stanley to the practice squad, where he'll be valuable. It's only going to take 1 injury for him to come back. And Uncle Mike, I saw, is back on the practice squad, which is huge. A lot of people were upset that he was gone, but Tyson Anderson deserved the spot. And I sent this to Jake the other day. The thing that I saw over the weekend, or no, it was after the roster came out, so Monday or Tuesday. I forgot who it was. I think it's Karras, is 30 years old. He's the oldest Bengal on the 53-man roster.
We have the 3rd youngest roster in football, is what I read the other day. So we're still a very young team. We were the youngest a couple years ago, but like I said, third youngest, so we're still one of the youngest teams. We continue to kind of bring in this new talent and infuse enough of them in, which is the biggest difference between the Marvin era, because rookies had a hard time, making the roster more or less the starting lineup. He just did not give. I think that was the whole thing with Auden Tate. I don't think ever got his chance under Marvin. So we kind of keep things fresh. It's bringing in the new people. So I really like that. Let's talk. So we add Will Grier. My final note on preseason is how disappointing our backup quarterbacks were. That is the headline. That's the name of the newspaper, the preseason news. Grier, I think, was a great grab. I watched Zach's presser the other day. We looked at him when he was coming out in college, so they were very familiar with him, and he was kind of we're the benefactor of the Trey Lance thing. Yeah, we were talking about getting a Niner quarterback, maybe one of their castoffs. But instead, we'll wind up with Grier because Lance went to Dallas, and I think I think he's our number 2 next year. I really do. If he doesn't make it up to the roster this year as number 2.
Yeah, he'll wind up passing up Browning after a month or so. Wouldn't surprise me if we start dressing 3 quarterbacks, weeks 4, 5, 6, although the Bengals don't have a long-standing of doing that. It was interesting. They told Grier before the last preseason game last week that he was getting cut, but by the way, you're playing the whole game to protect the 3 quarterbacks on our roster. And he put up phenomenal numbers. I think he completed or had over 350 yards. If you saw, he did complete a pass left-handed. If Patrick Mahomes did that, the world would have exploded and Twitter would have been down for a week. Right. But Will Grier does it, no big deal. But he's a nice player, had a great college career. I remember Jake and I talked about watching him in college. He was always good to get you the over at West Virginia. But Virginia, yep, a nice ad.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And he did exactly what Browning and Simeon didn't do, which was take advantage of the moment. I mean, he had to be ecstatic when he was playing that whole game because it was a chance for him to showcase what he could do. And that's exactly what our 2 guys had 3 games to do and couldn't do. So I'm really happy we added him. And the thing I like the most is he picked us. He wanted to come here. Yeah, well, he's here. He knew he could be a bona fide 2. Give us half a season and he could be on the active roster and actually be the 2. So, I was just happy. And Zach thinks he's a great fit personality-wise to the locker room. So, hey, welcome. That was a great grab. On the waiver wire when we go through and fill all the spots you have. So, all right. You guys got anything else on preseason? And then we're just gonna close the door.
The only thing sorry, ahead. Real quick. Can we never play at FedEx Field again?
Oh my gosh.
Getting hurt. I don't know why he was still in the game. I don't even know why he made the trip. It's unfortunate. He's probably, my gut is he's going to miss a week or 2, and maybe
I think they said 3 to 5 is what they said.
Oh, did they say? I missed it. That's not
well. It's 3 to 5 weeks from the injury, so maybe only a few weeks of the season. But still, yeah. Zach said he needed snaps, that he didn't get enough. So but if he was a guy you expected on the 53-man roster, and this field's a horrible field, I agree with you. I don't know why he was out there, but what are you going to do, Jake? What do you add?
Yeah, Dad, you mentioned some special team stuff. Stanley Morgan's been one of the best gunners in the league the last couple of years, and it's been Josevich that has been the new gunner pretty much the entirety of camp and the 3 preseason games. So look out for that early in the season. Stanley Morgan was really, really good as a gunner, and now it's Josevich's turn. So our special teams will look a bit different this year because I doubt Pratt plays as much on special teams. I doubt Logan will play as much on special teams, and that's why we have Baichy there and Tyson Anderson and Jones, who's going to play a lot on special teams, and obviously Josevich as well. So look out for the special teams. At times it was really bad last year. I bet Dax Hill will get back on special teams as well. So yeah, just look out for some of the guys on special teams.
Yeah. Did we get Stanley Morgan back to the practice squad?
Yes.
Okay, good, because he's a valuable member. Like you said, it's going to be one somebody's going to get hurt somewhere along the line, even if it's just for a few weeks. And he's the natural person because of what he contributes on special teams. So, all right, well, let's get into. I got a couple pieces of news. We actually covered one of them, which is Grier. The other one is AJ Green will be the ruler of the jungle at the Ravens home opener. So that's the other piece of news I have. Do you guys have anything other than that? I mean, I know we picked up a Cleveland cast off at running back for the practice squad and stuff like that, but anything else you guys want to add?
Jake
Ravens killer.
Senior Bowl. Remember Jake Felton?
Oh, Demetric Felton, UCLA.
Yeah.
I didn't know we signed him. Nice. All right. Yeah, we saw him. UCLA guy.
Yeah, we were at the Senior Bowl that year and we watched him.
Okay. Good. So all right. Well,
and I love AJ being ruler of the jungle
yes.
against Baltimore. It's only fitting.
Yeah, and against the Ravens and the home opener. So so let's go through let's look at the schedule. Now, I know we don't have to go game by game because we're all going to have the Bengals with the winning record. Their over-under is 11.5 on wins, which is the same as the Chiefs, which is what makes it a tough bet, though. So something happens, we end up scraping to get to 10 and getting in, or 11 to getting into the postseason. It's just a tough bet. That's all. It's not. I'm still remembering the 6.5. Where I had it in like week 7 or week 8. So, but we'll go through. So, tell me what games you think we're going to lose. Do you want me to start, or you want me, or just? I'll start this way. I believe I always pay respect to our division. So I always assume we're going to lose a couple. You can't assume you're going to sweep everybody. The Ravens games are always tough. The Steelers games, and we've had problems with the Browns. So, I mean, we're going to lose. We're going to go 4-2 probably in the division. I think that's a fair estimate. So I'll start there, as 2 losses are going to be, in the division. So what do you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go one better. I think Cleveland's going to get us in week 1. And then I don't have us losing again until Thursday night on the road in Baltimore. So, yeah, I have our first 2 losses being division games 10 weeks apart.
So you don't have us losing to week 11.
No.
Niners in Buffalo?
I have the Bengals losing week 1 to Cleveland and then not again until week 11 in Baltimore. Yeah. On Thursday night.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you have us at 10-1. You have us at 5-1 at the bye week, and 10-1 going into that game.
Yeah, I think they're gonna. I think the spot
going into that game 9-1.
I think the spot going to San Francisco out of the bye is good. Takes away a lot of the hard travel, and I like that matchup for us, particularly against San Fran, and then Buffalo at home is that Sunday night? That's Sunday night, right?
The Buffalo game, yeah.
Yeah, and then they have a not a cupcake, but a little tune-up against Houston at home before they go on a short week to Baltimore on a Thursday night. So I have them losing that one. But yes, I have them starting 10-2 or 9-2.
That's a tough 5. You take a look at that segment. That's a tough 5 out of 6 segment coming out of the bye.
Yes, yeah.
San Francisco, Buffalo. You get Houston, which is nice. At Baltimore, Pittsburgh's never easy, and at Jacksonville. That's a key stretch right there that will determine the difference between winning the division and getting the number 1 seed potentially.
Yeah. The schedule, the spots are interesting because they have back-to-back division games twice, and then their last 3 games are 2 division games bookending the Chiefs game.
Yeah,
that's tough.
So it's very, very challenging. I'll say that again. Back-to-back times we face division opponents, 2 times we face division opponents back-to-back weeks, and then you go to the last 3 games, it's 2 division games bookending a road trip to Kansas City. So it's very
and 5 of the 5 toughest games we have are all on the road. We're at San Francisco, we're at Jacksonville, at Pittsburgh, right? At Kansas City. It's a tough schedule. I mean, back there. So, and there is that 3-game stretch where we do have, the Baltimore Thursday night. So you get the mini bye, but then you're just heading to Pittsburgh.
But here's
so they get
home for Pittsburgh.
So they get Pittsburgh at home off of the long week. So that'll be a good spot. And Pittsburgh before that, I think they have a tough one. Yes, Pittsburgh has to go to Cleveland the week before after playing Green Bay and Tennessee and Jacksonville. So a tough spot for Pittsburgh out of there by a couple weeks later. They go.
Jacksonville's going to be a tough out in Jacksonville. I mean, that's gonna they're a playoff favorite, by betting standards. When you look at what everybody's you go through the divisions this year, you look at what gamblers think, and they have some very specific, Jacksonville winning, Detroit winning their division. I mean, there's some teams, that you don't usually think of as division winners that are going to be division winners.
That's where we're going to make the money this year, Mark. That's where we're going to make the money. Don't fall for it. You're taking Jacksonville minus 140. It's a sucker play, man. Don't do it.
What's minus?
So I want to. Oh
no, I didn't bet the division. The only thing I bet, I'm telling you, the only bet futures with any meat on the bone is Zach Taylor, Coach of the Year, 20-1. That's your bet. Throw $50 on it. $50 for 1,000. It's really the only bet. It's the only one I have placed right now. So
Andy Reid has worse odds than Zach Taylor. Zach Taylor and Andy Reid are like 200-1 and 300-1.
So 200-1, 300-1 on what?
20-1. What'd you say? Zach's
20-1. Yeah, 20-1 is Zach.
Andy Reid's like 25-1.
Is he? Well, that's because back-to-back is tough to get.
Yep.
So, in terms of getting back to the Super Bowl, and Andy Reid has to do a lot to kind of, because his bar is so high. Zach's been overlooked. I thought Zach deserved Coach of the Year when Vrabel got it. I don't care that he managed the Derrick Henry injury. He took a playoff team to the 1 seed. Big deal. Zach Taylor took a team that got the first overall pick to the Super Bowl.
Yep. No, absolutely.
So I thought he got hosed that year. Everybody talked about, he managed the Derrick Henry injury. Everybody manages injuries, and you already had a playoff team. So what? You were the 1 seed. We went in and beat you, didn't we? Right? So
twice.
Yes. So
they beat him not twice, but they beat him the next year.
Yeah. So what? All right. So what do you have your final records being?
So wait, before we go there, I want to throw something at you guys as we're talking about difficult blocks of schedule, and we all know, go back to the Pete Rozelle days. The NFL is all about parity, and what you think you know one year, you don't know the next year. Everybody remember last year? We started out 0-2, and then if I'm not mistaken, it was 3-3, and it was
4-4.
Have to win these next 3 games because the last 8 games of the schedule are absolutely impossible. It was a bloodbath. It was a gauntlet of Super Bowl contending teams. We won them all.
Right.
NFL's a fickle space. Jake and I have had conversations about Jacksonville. Yeah, they could take a step up. They could take a step back. Pittsburgh's expected to take a step up. Everybody looks at the Minnesota game like it's a tough game. You get Jake talking about the Minnesota Vikings in last year, and that needs a series of podcasts all on its own. To use Jake's word, and this is all from Jake. I'm giving him credit. They're a fraud. They'll be lucky to make the playoffs this year. The Buffalo game, that's a tough one. I'm sure glad it's at home and not in Buffalo again after everything from last year. San Francisco, yeah, they're good. They've got the best defense in the world, but Brock Purdy is not a good quarterback. The numbers on Brock Purdy the last 3 weeks of the season last year, the league figured him out.
No, they didn't.
You know what? Here's what I'm going to say about Brock Purdy. The guy makes the plays when he has to. It's not pretty. He was a winning quarterback for them.
Throws 4-yard dump offs to McCaffrey and Debo, and
I get it. I'm just
watch the damn games.
So I don't see. I worry about the Niners a lot. I worry about
it a ton. They're great. There's no reason why they don't make the Super Bowl.
And they have a great coach. So once again, I fear going into Kansas City against Andy Reid, going into Santa Clara against Shanahan.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Jake said, I'm interested what Jake thinks makes it a great matchup. I always worry about tough defenses, hard-nosed defenses like that, because that's always been kind of our Achilles heel. I mean, I could be like a 16-10 type of game, which either team can win.
Right. Well, that's it. It's a coin flip game. When
what
kind of games? It's a coin flip game. A penalty, turnover, and the game, and that decides the game.
Yeah, what makes the matchup so particularly interesting is they play very much like AFC North teams. And one of the only, this is like a 15-year-old way of thinking is how'd you stop Brady? You get pressure with 4. every team in our division can get pressure with 4, and that's why those games are so hard. San Fran is the only other team in the conference that in the NFC that consistently can get serious pressure with 4 guys. And it's up to the Bengals to beat that. The first matchup in 2021, they couldn't figure out the cover 2 because they were getting pressure with 4 and they were dropping 2 safeties back. They couldn't figure it out. And then they finally figured it out in the fourth quarter, lost in overtime. And we wanted to see them in the Super Bowl so bad because they figured it out and they were going to beat them. But now this time around, 2 years later, the Bengals have completely evolved their ways of thinking, both in the front office and on the field, specifically with in-game adjustments. And the Niners are still the same team. There's a different guy at quarterback, but they're still the same team. There are a little bit new guys on defense. They're a little bit younger, a little bit faster, but they're the same team. So it's going to be interesting. They're going to get pressure with 4, and I think it's a very good matchup for the Bengals because I think they've evolved.
I like it.
I like it too. Boy, you got me hyped. You got me thinking we're going to roll and take the points. Well, I would take the points anyway. I tease them, but because I do think that's going to be that's going to be like an AFC North game when we're in Santa Clara. You're going to that game, aren't you?
I want to. I'm picking my spot. I haven't figured out what game I'm going. I'm going somewhere to.
I'm going to the Vikings game.
Are you?
Okay.
I get to see those frauds in person.
There you go. And I feel good about the Arizona game because that's a game we should win. Looking at the schedule, the games we are supposed to win, we have to win because of how our schedule lays out. We have to. Well, we've got the Rams, Titans, Cardinals, Seahawks. I mean, come on, we've got to roll all 4 of those games. I mean,
Titans will be hard. That'll be a tough game going to Tennessee. It always is. I mean, the Bengals haven't lost there. They're 3-0 against Titans with Burrow. Vrabel hasn't really figured us out, but the Bengals have completely figured out Derrick Henry. Now he's another year older. So yes, the Bengals will be a heavy favorite in that game,
right?
But it's still Vrabel as a dog. It's cash money. So we'll see, but that's not a Sharpie game by any stretch, but a game that they certainly should win.
Those are games.
Those really good.
Those are the stretches we have to win. When we're going through, we cannot give those games away. We can't have any hiccup in those games on our schedule. So, all right. So give me your final records. Give me your predictions here.
Yeah. So Warren Sharp has us as underdogs. Hang on. In 2 games, I would guess that's San Fran and KC. Those are the only 2 games where the Bengals look ahead wise are projected to be dogs. I had them
on the road.
I think so. I have the Bengals losing 3. I have them going 14-3 with a loss in week 1 in Cleveland, a loss in week 11 in Baltimore, and a loss in week 17 in KC. So I have them losing 3 times on the road, undefeated at home with wins over all 3 division opponents, wins over Buffalo, Seattle, Rams. 14-3 and the 1 seed.
Okay. I'm not that. I'm a little more conservative in my approach. Like I said, automatically give at least 2 losses to division opponents.
I did.
Yeah, no, I'm going through, and I go through. I have us, I kind of have us at 12-5, which is why I see why it's 11.5, because you could, if you go 3-3 in your division, now you're at 11-6. So now you can see why you're at the 11.5 mark for both because there's going to be hiccup weeks. There's going to be weeks where they just don't get off the bus or come out of the locker room. They're going to happen. I think at worst, I think we lose maybe 1 game at home, but I've got us down. I've got us right at 12-5, which is why I'm not betting 11.5. That's just not. So you should be jumping on the over 11.5 wins on the.
Also, a note which is a little interesting. Warren Sharp has these metrics he uses for schedules. The Bengals have the 3rd easiest jump from last year to this year in terms of the past defenses that they face.
That's
a little fun nugget. So they had. So when you compare schedules for all teams from last year to this year, in just strictly terms of the past defenses that you face or are projected to face based on how they're projected to finish this year, the Bengals have the 3rd easiest jump. So it's the 3rd. It becomes the 3rd easiest.
I like the metric better than talking about strength of schedule, because I hate the strength of schedule statistic. The teams are completely different this year. You have teams that had injuries last year that are going to pencil in as easy outs that aren't easy outs. So I just hate, but bringing in the pass defenses and stuff,
Yeah, and
changes the metric a little. So I like that.
if you
number
do look at the schedule, I don't have the 2022 schedule off the top of my mind, but if you take away division games, the only good pass defense the Bengals actually face is San Fran. Buffalo's pass defense got exposed last year. We know how bad
Right.
Jacksonville's is. Minnesota's is dog shit, and KC's isn't any good either, and neither is Seattle's.
Wasn't Tampa
So-
still good last year? Were they
Tampa's was very good last year. Yeah, we should have lost that game. New England's was very good last year. We played Tennessee when their pass defense was healthy.
Right.
That wasn't a great Burrow game.
That's good.
Jets had a really good pass defense. That was a good Burrow game. Yeah. Who do you play from the NFC?
Carolina, Atlanta, and Tampa Bay.
Yeah. There you go. And
Yeah.
New Orleans, who also had a good pass defense.
Yeah, I mean, New Orleans a very good defense. So, all right. And Devin, did you give us your total there?
I have not. I'm with you, Mark. I'm going to give us an automatic. I'm going to stay away from the individual division games, but give us 4-2. I think you got a good team. If you go 4-2, you're happy. If you go 5-1, you're ecstatic. If you go 6-0, you shot the moon. So
Yeah,
I'm going to go 4-2 and keep it average. I have us winning every home game, and I think between Tennessee, San Francisco, Jacksonville, and Kansas City, we lose 2 of those. So I'm going 13-4.
there you go. All right. So we all have us winning. I mean, we like I said, I knew we were all going to have us in the playoffs. You got a 12, 13, and 14 win season. So let's hope it comes to fruition. We'll all be at a playoff game, maybe in the postseason.
Yeah,
I'll be there.
And I look forward to jumping in the pool and freezing cold pool in December for the 3rd straight year.
There you go. So, and then you could show us the ink that you and Jake were going to get if you won the Super Bowl. You still have the artwork.
It's coming one of these years.
Okay. So I would have to do something too. I don't know what I'd have to pick out my artwork. I don't have it picked out yet though. So, and Jake, you think that they're going to lose opening day, which is the day before my 60th birthday. So all I wanted last year, I'm a 9/11 baby. So the actual opening day last year was the Steeler game, and we lose our long snapper and can't hit an extra point to win the game, which killed me because it's all I wanted. On Facebook, I posted, for those of you who know me, all I wanted was a Bengal win, and I didn't get it. So
I have sorry, Mark. I was smoking ribs that day during the Pittsburgh game, and I still have a baking sheet that I still use that is significantly bent, because I went WWE with the baking sheet against the counter. One of those kicks were missed.
You said smoking, and I didn't know you were going to say ribs. I was smoking. I was like, what were you? So, but yeah, no, that was to me. I was, like I said, it was the only thing I wanted. So it's my 60th birthday. I've got to hope they can beat the Browns on opening day. I know it's in Cleveland, but come on, man, this is a big birthday.
I've got Houston at home on my birthday weekend.
Oh, well, I like your odds a lot better. So, but I'm really hoping you're wrong, Jake. I already teased the Bengals. I think I have them plus 5.5 or something. So, hopefully, as long as if we don't win the game, which I'm really hoping we do, if we don't win it, hopefully it's a field goal and not like that Thursday night game after the Jet game where we literally didn't even come out of the locker room. So that's why I have us at 12. There's gonna be one of those weeks. It always is.
There were last year, and those are the games we still won later in the year. There was the Tampa Bay sleepy game where they woke up at halftime.
Right.
There was the New England game where they fell asleep at halftime.
Right.
And they won those games.
I know, but they're saying all the right things. They seem like a team that understands where they are, that they're the hunted now. Okay, they're up on the top. So teams are looking to make a statement against them. They're not the team making the statement. They realize they're there, and they, a week at a time. So You know, this is a battle tested team. 2 consecutive AFC Championship appearances, Super Bowl appearance. You know, they've been in the moment. So, you know, this is now a seasoned, ready to go team. You know, heck, even Collinsworth picks us to win the Super Bowl, which I was like, shut up. You know, I like to just that was one of those endorsements I didn't need. But all right. And then
what I'm hoping for is Joe Burrow's got a lot of that it factor, a lot of that whatever term you want to use. And everybody, is he healthy for week 1? Is he going to play week 1? Well, we all know he's playing week 1.
Right.
He's already practicing. I thought the biggest thing about him being on the practice field is that he didn't have the sleeve on the calf anymore. He's full go. Joe Burrow owes the Browns at this point in his career.
Yes.
And I truly think he knows that. And my hope is that he comes out and he just shoves it where the sun don't shine on week 1 and makes an early statement on what he plans on doing this year. Now, that's the fan in me. That's the optimist in me. But that'd be pretty freaking cool.
No, that is the smart fan, because if you saw Burrow on the Brady show, what is it? I can't remember what the name of the show is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but he talked about being a kid watching Brady, and he said there was a play where you got your bell rung and your helmet flew off because Brady had commented about how fast he springs up after he's been tackled. And he said, I patterned that after you. There was a game as a kid he saw where Brady's helmet flew off and Brady popped right back up and picked his helmet up, you know, to show that he wasn't rattled at all. And Brady goes, Nate Clemens. He knew the play. He knew exactly who hit him. He knew the game. He talked about the moment. These players keep that stuff in their head. And I think exactly what you just said. Burrow knows he has it. He owes the Browns. He knows it. And I think that's there. These players have that in their head. They don't forget. And this was like 10 years after. I mean, Burrow was like 12 or 13 years old when that play happened and he saw Brady. And Brady knew immediately who it was. Said,
there was also that play when he was at LSU. I want to say it was against Auburn. It's everybody throws it on Twitter every once in a while. He threw a pick and go and got absolutely lit up, and the guy stood over him.
Yeah.
And Bengals fans post it and say, this is when Joe Burrow became Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
If you've seen that play, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I remember it. No, it's thrown out a lot. So I definitely agree. So all right, so we've got us all making the playoffs. Jake has us as the 1 seed. I would love to see that. And we will be back on Thursday. Jake, remind everybody where they can find your stuff.
Follow me on Twitter at Jake Circus, and then Jake Circus Podcast, Spotify, and YouTube.
All right.
Can you get Keyshawn on the podcast and remind him that we've won the division?
Oh, you know what? I stopped listening to the ESPN guys because I think that they just say stuff to incite people. I think that like when Michael Smith comes in, he's handed and he's like, wait, I got to argue this. And then he starts getting himself in the mode to argue something that he truly doesn't believe. So that's just the nature of, you know, the ratings. That's what you
Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith, they don't make their money for their knowledge of sports. They make their money because they're polarizing figures and they want people. It's the Howard Stern theory, you know, in the movie Howard Stern, the famous line, if they love me, they listen to me. If they hate me, they listen longer.
Right. And that same interview, they said, when people, you know, say, why do you listen to him if you don't like him? Because I want to hear what he'll say. I mean, they just can't not listen. I say that to people all the time. People throw out this stuff on Facebook and Twitter to incite fans. And I'm like, you're just feeding what they want by retweeting this 100 times. Stop it. So, but Keyshawn's an idiot. Don't listen to him. So if you don't subscribe, please subscribe. It's all we ask. We'll be back next Thursday with our season preview. Jake and I for sure. Devin, carve out the time in your schedule. And we're going to have Rothy and Heath, you know, doing recaps and stuff. And we'll all be together. It's going to be good. So go ahead and subscribe and get the alerts. And I'm going to say, hoo day, everybody, and have a safe and healthy Labor Day. Take care.